reality, statistically speaking, Gartner, Harvard studies and everything, what you will see is the reality from pilot to production is about 10% of use cases, and that's a reality. Because what happens is, when you look at the use cases, the most important thing is the use cases which you need to identify and what adds value. Now, again, it's not necessary that you use AI because it's probabilistic, whereas sometimes you need to be deterministic, and then you can do it with an RPA solution. So that's the myth versus reality.
Hey, hi Saurabh.
Hey, Vaibhav, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank
Thank
you.
you so much for coming to such a short notice.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so let's start. I know that you are in rush.
Sure.
Okay, so what are the biggest barrier in AI adoption that you see in current market? And I'm sure that you are being bored with the same question again and again. But I love to hear you.
No, absolutely. Look, I mean, AI as a technology, as we know, it's a very promising technology. I would say it's been like the internet when it came in back into 90s to now. It was a revolutionary technology. AI has a lot of potential, but when you look at the real adoption, right? So there is a myth and there's a reality. Of course, technology has huge potential, but we have not been able to leverage it to its full potential. Um, uh, in reality, statistically speaking, Gartner, Harvard studies and everything, what you will see is the reality from pilot to production is about 10% of use cases, and that's a reality. Because what happens is, when you look at the use cases, the most important thing is the use cases which you need to identify and what adds value. Now, again, uh, it's not necessary that you use AI because it's probabilistic, whereas sometimes you need to be deterministic, and then you can do it with an RPA solution. Now, the barrier, so that's the myth versus reality. And when we talk about the barrier, there are multiple, I could think of multiple barriers. There being things like the culture of the organization, okay, willingness to change, willingness to invest, like in any project, right? So because if you have a top leadership buy-in,
Yeah.
and willingness to see through it as a part of the broader change management, that when you start, it's great. But as you go through the journey, and it's a multi-year journey, then generally that becomes a little bit of a challenge.
Right.
So I would say clearly um, the mindset, which is the culture.
Yeah.
Second is also around the integration with the existing technologies, because most of the enterprises have 200 plus applications, and a lot of them, especially in FSI, when we talk about those, a lot of our systems are legacy. Now, in order to implement AI, which is heavily dependent on data,
Yep.
we are still sitting in a lot of organizations on enterprise data warehouses.
Yep.
We are moving slowly to data lakes, to data mesh,
Yep.
but the fundamentals still remain the same. Challenges still remain the same. If you look at in insurance world, policy admin systems are mainframes. Okay, in the banking, you look at the core systems. The core banking systems are again mainframe.
Yes.
Majority of the organizations, right? So
Yep.
I think the challenge becomes when you're integrating. So integration is another challenge, which I would say. Third thing is around also the skills, because the technology is new, it's ever evolving.
Yes.
So the get the right sort of skills, and generally when you look at an insurance, I'll talk specifically about insurance because I come from the insurance industry. But and that holds true to a lot of extent to the broader financial services institutions as well. What happens is most of the talent want to go and work with a product company.
Hmm.
They want to work with Google's, Meta's of the world. So when you come in as an insurance company and you want to, because you can't simply just you can partner, of
Mm.
course, but you also need in-house talent.
Yes.
And in order to attract that in-house talent becomes a challenge. And upskilling sometimes is also a massive challenge. And that's where I personally see that attracting retaining becomes a massive challenge. Completely agree on that. So, if I was to kind of summarize, there are three major factors which I see. Yep. One clearly being the culture and the mindset. Yep. Second being the integration with the existing enterprise systems. Third being the talent. And fourth can be, you can say fourth broadly could be the overall buy-in, the ROI, the outcome which you're getting, right? So because when you look at the technology, everyone looks at ROI. Yes. And ROI is hard to articulate sometimes because you have other technologies like RPA, and most of the use cases have been around the automation. It has not been in the core of I want to radicalize my or democratize my data. That's not where the use cases have been successfully deployed. Yes, they have been in pilots. So that's where I would say could be another area which I can think of.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you on that. And thanks for sharing the insight. If I may, you mentioned about because you are from an insurance background. Okay, so if I may ask one more question, sure, specific to insurance domain.
Sure.
See, ESG is something which is everywhere as a banking institute or as a non-banking institute. They are going towards ESG variable integrated into their core.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we talk about insurance, how do you see this as ESG component to be integrated in insurance?
No, see that I would say ESG is a core, right? I mean, it's one of the core values or core areas where the boards are focusing on. In the insurance world, I would say it has been integrated quite well. Okay. Look, we have scope one, not much. Scope two, and there's a scope three. Yes. Now, mostly where you see ESG, um, it's more on the scope three. Scope two is primarily on our own data centers, for example, right? But scope three is where the majority falls. And whether you look at the reinvestment and investing in green finance, for example, yep. Because as an insurance organization, majority bulk of the revenues, which is our premiums, which we get, we reinvest into instruments.
Yes.
And that's where we evaluate where we are investing. And that's where the green finance, or we want to invest in organizations which are more focused on green finance. Then from a vendor landscape, whether it is technology vendors or whether it is the broader ecosystem partners, we are also looking at where are our partners kind of investing in. So evaluating from that standpoint. Yeah. And then when you look at the core insurance world itself, right? So when you look at our models, whether it is our natural catastrophe data, whether it is climate data, okay, all that coming from geospatial satellites.
Yes.
We have been using it for a while, and that has always been so that data insight which comes in from a measurement standpoint, analysis standpoint, that's coming from there. When you look at our, let's say from a data center, green data center capabilities, because whatever technologies we talk about, the core is still data center, right?
Right.
So when you talk about that, that has also been there for a while.
Okay.
And we are now focusing on the partners who are committed to green data centers, like cloud partners or on-prem partners. So that's where the focus has been. Now, AI-driven analytics is another area where we focus on that ESG component because, and insurance in general, like very, when you look at claims processing paper,
Yes.
when you look at our onboarding a customer, very paper-based. When you look at our surveyors, when you look at a motor claim, for example, motor claim or health claims, we partner with TPAs, we partner with the garages, and so on. So that's all. We evaluate them from that standpoint, and claims, paperless claims, has been a massive thing.
Yes.
And we have gone paperless in many ways. In the past, when it would take us 5 days a week to process a claim, now we can do it in 15 minutes in a lot of cases.
Right.
So that's where the entire paper chain is going away, and that's where the contribution is happening. Does that kind of answer the question?
And thanks for sharing
No worries.
your thoughts on that. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for your time.
You're welcome.